My guest today is Kingsley. She's a pop singer, a songwriter, and a beauty and wellness entrepreneur who's created an engaged community by embracing her authenticity. Her mission is to build a better world, as she puts it, one baddie at a time. I'm inspired by her song Higher, written for Esther and Paul of Be.Act.Change, to be used in their upcoming podcast, Awaken the Trailblazer Within. The description on Bandcamp for the song says she created the song to reflect a mission to encourage people to take action by trailblazing their own journey and to create a community and belonging. I love it. Welcome to my show, Kingsley.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Oh, so I also wanted to add to introduce you. You taught yourself how to play the piano. At a young age, you knew what you wanted to do. And you are resilient because pandemic hit right when your career was taking off, and it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, for one day after my movie flopped, I was a crybaby, and the next step, I'm like, get back out there. And then you came up with the lipstick line, right? But it all comes back to authenticity. So tell me why you believe it's important to be yourself, what it means to you, and why it's important that you want people to get the message to just be themselves, unique, and that's how they should brand themselves.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways I can answer, but I'm going to start with just like the history of being yourself. We've all been in middle school and just like worn our favorite shirt, and then someone like bullied us because of this thing that was our favorite shirt, and then that deters you from yourself again. Or you've styled your hair in a style that you thought was so absolutely lovely, and then you came to school and got bullied, right? And that again deterred you from yourself. Or you go into college and you don't really care to watch this movie, but everyone's watching it, so you're watching these things so that you can fit in. And I spent so much of my life, and so many other people spent so much of their life not being themselves. So if I can make sure I create a space where people can actually be themselves, it's healing as a collective, just the history. And if I'm doing that and other people are doing that and more people are doing that, less and less people will have stories that I just said, right? Because they know how it feels to make sure someone feels loved and accepted. And then the science behind that is, it's a little mystical, but science is mysticality, is the discovered a new frequency that's higher than love. And it's actually authenticity. It's literally being yourself. So what's higher than love, the frequency of love? Being yourself. How incredibly divine is that, right? That you being yourself is even higher than love. And so I take that with me day by day by day. And every person that I come into contact with, whether it's one-on-one like this in a podcast, or even them just hearing my voice as they're listening to the podcast, I make sure that they know they're seen, they're heard, and they're loved by me.
How do you bring that into your songs? How do you, like me, for example, I thought I should be able to sing like Bono and U2, or really high like John Lennon. Like, can't do it, man. Doesn't matter how much you practice. And then it turns out I have a voice like James Taylor, which people like. So what is your advice to people to remind them, or kind of like, what would you say to them to keep them on track?
Yeah, I think because, there wasn't an Ariana Grande voice until Ariana Grande did it. And so there is no Kingsley voice until Kingsley did it. And there will be no your voice until you do it. And so remembering that to be an iconic person is to be your own voice. In order to get something named after you, you have to be yourself doing it. It's not like, oh, she sounds like Ariana Grande and that's how I remember her. No, it's Ariana Grande you're remembering. So I just remind people your voice will be named after yourself.
So tell me your story in terms of, that sounds beautiful, but we all know that's harder to do than it sounds. You start trying to sing yourself. No one's heard you before. It takes a while to catch on.
To find your voice, yeah.
Yeah, and to find your voice. Because you'll start wanting to be like Bono or or pick your rock star before you realize it's not you. Tell me your story. When there must have been some difficult times, setbacks, when you wanted to, like, I can't be myself. I should try being something different.
Well, I have an opera degree. I went to college for opera, and I was very lucky. My vocal teacher was Dr. Sims is an incredible gospel, iconic influence And so when he became my voice teacher, I talked about what I wanted to do after college. And I'm very lucky. I had a very unique experience with him of allowing me to figure out what my voice was. And so we're testing it with like Take Me to Church by Hozier and singing of Halo by Beyonce, right? And we're realizing, oh girl, you are a grovelly low voice. Like even how I'm speaking right now, I have a very low voice. And so starting to see how I could take these songs and move it into my register and the way that I pronounce things and the way that I shape things. How can I sing instead of like, take me to church, the way that he sings it on top of the beat? I want to put it to the back of mine and say, take me to church, and eat it the way that my voice sounds. And so I definitely, one, if you can get a vocal teacher that's going to help you find your voice, start there because they know what's best and will teach you good technique. But also try to put the song on instrumental and sing it how it feels comfortable in your mouth to sing it. And sometimes that means taking it down some keys, taking it down, or maybe moving it up so you can sing it nice and airy in your head voice. And start playing with your vowels on the way you say things. Like that's why I love rap and hip hop so much, because they speak so differently and it sounds like them.
Yeah.
So yeah, having fun there.
And then you have a songwriting retreat coming up in May, right?
Yes, I do.
Which looks really cool. So it's in Bend, Oregon, May 1st through 5th this coming year. And it's gonna have yoga and meditation and breath work, guided journaling. You can teach people how to sing. They get a one-on-one vocal session with someone to do just like an expert, what we're speaking of, right?
Yeah, I host retreats every year. I'm actually doing a harp retreat in Sedona the week after, but that one sold out. So, and then I'll have another one a couple weeks that I'm going
Oh,
to
I
be
love
in.
Sedona. What's this harp retreat? What does
Yeah,
that mean?
it's for harp players, literally for harp players to
Oh,
come together. And so, same thing, teaching them
wow,
um,
cool.
technicality, teaching them how to set up their CRM system so that they can make more money, especially during wedding season, like getting them all the templates put together, teaching them how to build a set list for weddings. And then just coming together with other harpists because, it's very solo. You play the wedding by yourself, you're driving by yourself, so
Why'd
having
you
people.
pick Sedona?
The person that I'm hosting it with, she's from Arizona and absolutely loves that place.
Oh, it's
She's
good.
30 minutes from
It's a
Sedona.
magical place. I'm from Arizona too.
Okay, yeah, I've never been. That'll be the first time.
Never heard of them. Usually they're doing all the high woo-woo stuff. They're like tarot card readings and
We might do that. I don't know. Wherever the wind takes us, but we're going to be working on the harp for sure. And then the songwriting retreat in Bend is again just a space for people to come together to collaborate. It's for women. And yeah, Haley Johnson, that's an incredible. She's played Coachella, she's played Red Rock, sold out. She's American Idol finalist. She's doing one-on-one vocal sessions. And then one of my friends who's an incredible photographer here in Portland, she's like the go-to person. She's going to do Spotify photos because we need the things. And I teach branding
oh
and
yeah. That's one of the things I just discovered about you. You have so many things you do.
I do.
And I didn't know what these letters meant. UGC. User generated content. So you
Yeah.
help people with their brands and tell me what you do in that business.
Yeah, so that's teaching people how to create content for companies to hire, like to pay them to do it. There, especially musicians. I'm like, there's people want you to use their products while you're singing. Like, it's the best thing for it. And so I help people discover who they are. So, for example, when people ask me, "What does your music sound like?" Instead of saying, "Oh, I sound like this artist in this genre," I say, "My music sounds like the first sip of champagne." And that is iconic and people will
Mhm.
remember it and it's beautiful. And I mean, people are like, well, champagne's for celebration. Is your music celebration? I'm like, well, you have to listen to it, honey. You've got to discover it.
It's not death metal.
Not death metal, not in this lifetime. But
But what is the service? Like someone has a brand, because this ties back into authenticity. You teaching people how to brand their authenticity, how to actually market themselves, right?
yeah, how to make content that feels like themselves.
And then they make money by selling the content they created, being themselves to another product, another brand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. How do they find the brand? How do you help them find who they
Um,
can sell themselves to?
it's usually the products that they're already using. So like if
Oh,
you lose your picks all the time, you should have a pick sponsor.
oh, I see.
If you restring your guitars every month, you should have a guitar string sponsor. If
Okay.
you're taking your guitar in to get body work, we start there with just everyday things that you're already using because you can make content from that. You don't need to buy it.
Oh, I'm with you now. Okay, so my Takamine. So this is like if you're building a house, it's a spec house. We don't know that people will actually buy the content we create when I'm using their pick or guitar. If I'm myself and I study, well, I'm using it. So already like
You already like it.
I play the Takamine guitar, acoustic, and I picked it because it's black. I like black, and and go figure. Bruce Springsteen and John Bon Jovi use one. Maybe they like black, or it's good live for whatever reason. It sounds good. So, so what you're saying is, and I'm reading on your website how to do this. Step one: emotional content. Empathize with your audience so you can create content that resonates with them. Well, I'm playing acoustic. What does that mean? That part, emotional connection.
Yeah, and so black evokes an emotion, right? If your guitar is black and you're or your shirt's black and you're wearing, you're in a black background as well. What emotion is that? Darkness, vulnerability, right? So, what song would you play that follows up with that color,
Oh,
right?
that's awesome because you're playing your own music then too.
Precisely.
You're pitching your own music without even having to sell it. Okay.
Without even having to sell. Here's the emotional connection.
And so the colors, I noticed that with your lipstick, you had three different names for your lipstick, and they're kind of associated with the color, the branding of them. So so keeping that in mind, you picked the song to go with the colors.
It went the opposite way. So the songs were already created, and the person who did my lipsticks listened to them over and over again and was like,
Mm,
how would this song be if it was a lipstick?
mm.
And then we created the colors from there.
Okay. So back to my Takamine, it's black.
Okay.
And I'll be my authentic self. Got nothing to lose here. And also, if Bob Dylan and Neil Young can sing, anybody can sing. Oh, Tom Petty, perfect example. And he actually hits the notes every time too, which is what amazes. He's right on tune, but he's being himself. So let's imagine Tom Petty's got the black Takamine, he's me, he's being authentic. Then the story, right? So tell me about this. Step three is the storytelling now. What do you say in this? How do you do that part?
Well, you can make a song. So if we're pitching specifically to this pick company, right? Or even to the guitar company, you can make a song. The story is how every time you play this guitar, you are Tom Petty. This guitar helps you become that person. And
Or if
that's
it's my song, like whatever my song is
you're right.
about.
So the song is called Tom Petty, and you're singing to TikTok about how this guitar makes you feel this thing. And what does Tom Petty make people
Mm.
feel? Right? And that's what you're creating. And then you send it to them. And they're like, oh my God.
Okay, and then the call to action is you're gonna say buy Takamine or something.
Oh no, that's too simple. People don't like to be told to buy. The
Ah,
thing would be, what age were you when you first heard your Tom Petty song? Or what age were you when you first saw this
I
guitar?
just used him for example. I didn't actually like him.
Well,
I didn't
whoever.
appreciate him until as a songwriter. I'm like, wow, his lyrics are really good. How does
I
he
don't
do it?
even, I've never listened to a song, so that's,
Yeah,
I've just picked a person. But
yeah.
what age did you see this guitar on stage? That's engaging your audience to look at the physical guitar you have. I didn't tell them to buy anything. And then people will start to comment, oh, I saw it with Bruce Springsteen when he played at this thing. Oh my God, I saw that show too, right? Now the community's talking and engaging. We're not talking about the guitar. Then the people who are looking at this, the company who owns the guitars go, oh my gosh, that would be an incredible commercial for our next set of guitars that are coming out that reminds them of the past of nostalgia. We should get this person to do that project with us because they're already making content like that. There's
But
the
they could also steal your idea then.
that's the way of the world, but then you can sue, which a lot of creators have done. You can get
Or
you
actually,
without the work.
it's always good when people copy you. It means you hit a nerve
Means you did something.
and they're following you. You're not following them. So
Well, that's authenticity, baby.
that
Lead 'em.
is what it's about. But more likely, they're going to come to you because You just created something that AI couldn't create.
Yep.
Speaking of AI, a lot of people panic about artificial intelligence. I'm like, yes, you could use AI to do each step like we just did, help you. It's not going to spit out the whole thing, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So tell me about some of your other things going on with you. You got a lot of um your entrepreneurship.
Yeah, yeah, it feels like it's a lot of different things sometimes, but it all stems back to my why, which is
Hmm.
helping people feel their most authentic self and not just like feel it and believe it, but like helping them see it through, like actionize it. And so I do a lot of creative directing, which is like for music videos, for commercials, for photo shoots with brands. I'm doing a project for this company that's doing all of these Portland women-owned businesses a calendar and some of them will be compiled together in photos, and it's going to be like 108 women, and it's going to be an incredible 3 days of shooting, and I'm like the production person for it.
Nice.
It's just amazing, and yeah,
And how do you find all this? How do you find all these things? Just word of mouth? People see what you've done and
So the truth of the matter is, in order to get things, you have to put yourself out there, and your network is your network. And so I go to 4 or 5 networking events a week. 3 of them are online. One is always in person. And I am constantly running my mouth. Everyone knows what I do, how I do it, and so because of that, I've gotten so many jobs. And so this one specifically, my best friend saw it online and was like, "Oh, I know the person who runs that. So if you apply to it, I'm going to ping her and say, 'Oh, my girl applied to this, and this is all the stuff she's done for me.'" And I literally applied to it a day later, got an interview for it, got the job. Literally.
this is a great tip, networking. So the one I'm familiar with is BNI, business
I
networking.
love Vienna. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
dope.
Do you do one of those? Is that one of your
Yeah, I've
more?
done that. They're all over the world. So I've done the
Hmm.
BNI in London, which is so cool.
It is because for people who don't know, BNI, Business Networking International, you meet once a week, and if you join, people get to know you. So it goes round robin. Your turn comes up each week. Somebody different. You get the floor to really give a speech, tell them what you do, so they get to know and they pitch your product. Of course, you're supposed to give back to them and pitch their stuff too. So if you don't like the group because they're just not like, stockbroker, doctor, or I don't know if it's not my creative group or something, you can. What other kinds of groups do you belong to?
Yeah, I am in a couple different. I'm in Black Alliance Entrepreneurship. I'm with Harvest School Collective, which is for accountability. I've done the NASDAQ program, which is
What's
amazing.
that?
The NASDAQ program is specifically for women of color entrepreneurships. It's a free 8-week program with NASDAQ, which they're in San Francisco. It's online though, it's all virtual. And you get accountability partners, you get mentors, and just access to a bunch of women who are trying to do
Hmm.
incredible things.
So I
Um,
suppose you could just Google networking like meetups,
Honestly, I would suggest going to Eventbrite and typing in networking events and starting there. And
Eventbrite.
yep, Eventbrite, start there. And there are so many that are free. If you don't have a lot of money, do the free stuff. Don't pay for nothing. And then try to go to at least 2 a month and just start there. And there's literally networking events for people who are introverts. There's networking events for book nerds. Like it's so many things in any niche you can find, especially on Eventbrite.
And what's the live one you choose to go to?
So whatever city I'm touring in, I travel a lot. And so I always make sure wherever I'm going, I go onto eventbrite.com and I type
Mm.
in-person networking events in Seattle during these dates. And whatever one lines up, I go to that one. So I go to literally all over wherever I'm traveling, which is how I found BNI. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be in London for these 3 weeks. I'm going to go to this event.
And when you go, what's your elevator for you? What's your elevator speech?
Yeah, I'm a brand agency owner by day and an indie pop artist by night. I help people discover their truest authentic self, whether that's through my music or through branding, and I cannot wait to get to know everyone and their story today.
Nice. Did a whole bunch of things there. You intrigued my interest because you're a pop artist. Everyone likes,
Everyone likes
musicians.
music? Yeah.
But then you also gave me something real I can apply that I might need. And you said you want to meet me. You want to hear my story. It wasn't all but just about you. And then
Anyone can feel that. You can have it.
Yeah, yeah. And then mostly you're pitching your branding service though. Is that what?
It depends on the networking event that I go to. So you get to send the links for how people can connect and find you. And so the link that I always send people outside of like my Instagram is the podcast song that I wrote, which is Higher. And I literally say a song to inspire you on the day you need it the most. And
It
that's
does. I have the words for it right here. It's paving my own way. Together we're better to dream bigger and louder and go higher. Together to dream bigger. They're inspiring words. It's nice.
so that's my connection of like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about her. She does authenticity. Oh, she does music. Okay, I need to connect with her again, right? So I always make sure my final thing that I'm leaving isn't like, have a coffee chat with me, because sometimes people don't want to have coffee chats. Sometimes people want to come to you authentically. And so that's why I do it that way.
Well, yeah, that says when people go, can I chat with you? I'm like, I don't do chats.
I
You
don't do,
don't do chats.
you got to pay for my chats. I do
Yeah.
I don't do the can I pick your brain? It's
Yeah.
not, that's why I do
Or
podcasts.
in any business, any business.
If you wanted to pick my brain.
Rule of thumb I learned a long time ago in a different business. You need to talk to people on the phone. You can't, you need to talk to them. I watch, I watch the clock 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Then,
15's enough to get to know if it's gonna work.
yeah, or they're just going to pick your brain. So how do you balance between pitching your marketing and selling your music? Like I'm a musician, because back to authenticity, right? You probably, if you could, I'm just guessing, and if you were the world's biggest rock star, would you still do?
I would. So I often think of Tiana Taylor as my guide on the person that I'm becoming, because she is an artist. She works on her own music. She works on indie movies, whether she's producing them and or acting in them and or writing them. She also is an artist, creative director. She worked with Summer Walker, her entire tour, just doing the visionary for it, helping her with rehearsals and stuff. And so there's so many ways you can be this incredible, intricate machine. And so Tiana Taylor is literally my force. But today, the Kingsley version that I am today, I learned that I cannot wake up and work on other people's dreams. So from 9 a.m. to noon, it's Kingsley. That's the
Mm,
only things that I'm working on. Then I
the
take a lunch,
music.
whatever Kingsley needs, right? If that's me sitting and designing something for the t-shirts that are coming out on Friday that we're launching, or it's the lipstick line that we're working on, or it's me writing a grant because I need some grant money because I'm working
Oh,
on
on
it.
that brand. I'm with you now.
Whatever Kingsley needs, that's my 9 to noon every day, Monday through
Yeah.
Friday. And then from 12:30 to 6, that's other people's dreams. That's networking events, that's marketing, that's working on actual client projects, right?
Hmm.
So I structure my Monday, and I'm very lucky. I own my own business. People work 9 to 5 and then they have to figure out the music stuff. I will tell you, if you wake up and start working on your dream, it makes the days so much better.
Take care of yourself first, people. If you don't, who's going to?
Just go ahead.
This reminds me of this conflict on LinkedIn. You know, the LinkedIn business site,
Do you know, like,
where you need to be one person, have your resume tight and consecutive and no gaps, one thing you do. And ironically, there was a post, oh, if Leonard da Vinci were alive, how impressive his resume would look. I'm like, no, there would be no Mona Lisa. And if there was, there'd be no helicopter or spaceship, because he was either an engineer or sculptor or painter.
yeah.
No, he was all three or four.
Yeah, I think people get really overwhelmed with being one thing. So I have three different resumes. I have the resume that's for branding, I have a producer resume, and I have a Kingsley resume. And I created all three, and whatever I need to go goes where they need to go. Having it all in one thing, people have a hard time quantifying. That's why I said I do a lot of things, but it connects back to my why. And on each one of my resumes, the why is the main part of it. I help people feel authentic. I don't know if that's me getting on stage and pouring my heart and soul into the breakup that's happened to other people, or it's me sitting with a brand person, or it's sitting on a podcast right now. I think when people discover their why, that it makes it easier for them to understand the rest of the stuff. So this LinkedIn stuff of being like, do this or do that. Well, yes, and do
Yeah.
this way.
So Do you have a different resume for each why or a different one for each business?
Different one for each business, but the why is always the same.
What do you do with your LinkedIn then? How do you have three different Kingsleys?
Uh, so I have just one LinkedIn and it literally says brand agency owner by day, indie pop artist by night as my tagline. That's literally me. And I use LinkedIn as a diary. You can definitely go read it. Every Friday, not every Friday, every other Friday, I go on there and I set a timer for 10 minutes and I just type how I feel. And if other people are feeling it, they'll comment or they'll DM me and be like, oh girl, I was just thinking that too. So I'm a little unorthodox because I don't use LinkedIn the way that people think. I use LinkedIn to talk about the truths that are happening in the business world that I see it. And yeah, as told by me, I'm a
Which
little,
is another why. Why are we on here?
what are we doing? I talked
What are we doing
about
here?
the woes of networking. And then last week I talked about like how to cultivate gratitude when you literally can't feel it. You just
Hmm.
can't feel it.
What's
Um,
your trick on that?
So many things. So many things. Well, first, breathwork has changed my life. I'm a breathwork facilitator, and so I truly believe breathing yourself into the frequency you desire, especially when you can't access it easier. My life coach has me write my work gratitude at the end of my workday because I used to not like what I was doing or just not appreciate it. So I have to, before I clock out, send her, and she did some heavy hitter questions because she's like, you're not going to just type three things and get out of there. So I do that. And then in the
Every day.
every Monday through Friday. So every time I finish my work day, Saturdays and Sundays, I'm working on stuff, but it's creative. So I don't need to be in that space because I'm already having a good time.
Just
It's
a
what,
few things you're grateful for.
so she asked, it says three things you're grateful for the day, one person that has impacted your day, and one thing you did today to move you towards your greatest aspirations in life, which is the podcast she created, Your Highest Aspirations.
Nice,
So, yeah.
nice. And then when you have a setback, how do you handle it? Like if all of a sudden a gig cancels
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something, yeah, negative.
Something monstrous.
Yeah.
Um, I give myself 5 minutes to stomp my feet, scream, cry. I'm an Aries, and so I'm fiery. So if I need to stomp my little feet and call my best friend, like,
5
that's
minutes.
5 minutes. When that timer goes off, plan of action. Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah.
You think of the crybaby for 5 minutes.
Or whatever I need to. I need to like punch the pillow and
Now we're
get
talking.
out of me and be done with it and move on. I'm not much of a crier, but I get a lot of rage where I'm like, you gotta fucking go and be done with it.
So you mentioned building a better world. What's your vision? What do you see the world like if everybody's being authentic and a baddie and whatnot?
Well, there's no judgmental things. People aren't afraid to be seen trying because everyone enjoys that they're trying. People are inspired by the world of creation, and it makes them want to create. And it makes them want to, all of the things that are constantly telling them to do things, they're doing
Mhm.
it. Um, the world is just, I mean, and art reflects the world. And so that means the world is just a better place.
I completely agree. I think um, all other health conditions aside, what people are sick from, if they were really doing their, not just following their dream, but being authentic, like not just I want to be a pop singer, but being an authentic pop singer, the world would be as an engineer, I have a degree in aerospace engineering. I don't know how, but they don't really understand how gravity even really works,
Yeah.
let alone time travel and other, they didn't even understand time. But I know that it would be a better place. To which, if there's somebody listening who's like, guys, I really love Kingsley. She's doing her thing and she wakes up, she gets to work, and they're doing the grind, the job they hate, but they have an idea. What would you tell them how to get started?
Find people that will hold you accountable so that you can do it because sometimes it's not in yourself. And so every day for 1 hour a day, I have body doubling where I'm on Zoom muted with someone that I'm like, this is the task that I'm getting done in the hour. And then when the hour's up, they ask me, where are you at with the task? I do that every single day. And then on Tuesdays, I host an Elevate and Create night where people physically come in to do it. And so sometimes you need someone to say, did you get this thing done? And that accountability, having accountability people will help you move your dream along.
So I'm still stuck, then I'm trying to think of an example. Do you have an example? Someone you know, someone who's stuck we could use. Um, Paint a real picture. Think of who do you know that's stuck?
I don't know because a lot of people go to these accountability things. Literally, like I started doing it in the summertime, and it was because I had to go home with my parents for a month. And my parents live in a suburb of Chicago. There's nothing around it. And so my whole day was just in their freaking house. And I was uninspired. I was not getting my things done. And there was no one to tell me what to do because I am my own boss. And so I started these things where I literally call my best friend. I'm like, what day do you have an hour you could just sit silently with me and I was like, you don't have to be on screen. I just need to know someone is going to ask me, did I get this thing done? So then that started snowballing. My other friends being like, yes, tell me the day. And so if you're stuck right now, call your friend and say, what day can you make sure I get one thing done on my dream?
Mm.
And
To which
every,
first you have to admit to your friend what your dream is.
yeah, well, that's cultivating your
Yeah. Yeah. You have to find a good friend who's not going to tell you,
trust friend.
like that, don't quit your day job. Well, I'm not, but I want to do
You
this.
can everyone on this podcast, you can call me. You can call me.
And
I will tell you you can do it and we'll figure out the hour together.
the first step.
And the first step, yeah.
Because will that be different depending on what somebody's dream is?
Yeah, I think we get overwhelmed on where to start. So for my retreats, I literally host like a mastermind that's like the goal breakdown for releasing a song, right? We go big picture, 12, if we have 12 perfect months, what can it look like? And of course, it's never going to go like that, but the structure is built, right?
Hmm.
So that they know each month where they should be looking so that they can go each week where they should be looking so they can go each day.
It sounds like somebody actually needs a life coach at that point. They have a secret dream and they need
Yeah,
to take the
I have
first
a life
step.
coach. I have a business coach. I have a fitness coach. I have a vocal coach. I have all of these people around me that all believe in the great assemble your round table. That's what my life coach told me. Assemble it. I have an accountability coach. Assemble it. And sometimes you have to do trade, right? I do a lot of trade work for people because I own a brand agency. So I'm like, hey, I can't afford that all the way. But what I can afford is this. So can you meet me here? Right. And you'd be
Hmm.
surprised with how many people are willing to help you create the things that you want. You just have to ask.
I'm trying to think of a real example we could give somebody stuck. Common thing. You don't know anybody who's stuck. I don't know a whole lot of people that are stuck either.
That's a good thing. That makes my heart
The
flutter.
world's
We're in a
full
good
of them.
space.
Well, what got me inspired to do my podcast, my message, and do your thing. I'm at the gas station getting gas on a road trip, and at Circle K, Arizona. You know Circle K is great, right? Convenience store. And I'm like, how's it going I'm paying the cashier. And she's like, well, I don't know if I want to stay here 5 more years or not. I'm like, what do you mean? Like 5 more years? Like, well, I've been working 5 years. The manager loves me. Okay. But I have this friend who has a new job in healthcare at the hospital. It sounds interesting. I'd have to go for some training. Like, sounds great. What's the problem? What if I don't like it? Then you come back, your manager loves you. Like, what? Does it have to be a stay here, all or nothing? Just stuck.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people like that out there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's fear-based, right? And so we enjoy the knowing, but I constantly remind you, like you didn't know how to eat. You watched, you learned, you tried, you erred, you eat, right? You didn't know how to do that thing, so you don't know how to do this thing either. So you try it, you learn, you err, and you move on. And so constantly reminding people the fear that they're feeling today in this adult form, this adult mentality is not real and it's not true because when you were a child, you had to try to figure out what you can and cannot do, right?
Yeah.
I cannot ride bikes without my hands. I don't know how people do that. I've tried it, I fell, it didn't work. Now I ride with my hands on the way. So when
Back to your breath exercise for me, and I'm an engineer. Well, I mean, I'm both sides. I got both sides of the coin. If I'm in my analytical mind, like this person that's just okay, scared, I would do like your breath work from like take a moment, and then I'd imagine, okay, stand at circle, okay, how's that feel? Probably not so great, but comfortable maybe, but a little on the south side. like dark or just not happy. And then I might think of take a breath. How does it feel to go do the healthcare thing? And even if I don't like it, sounds adventure, sounds fun. I'd get a little lighter, that frequency, right?
Yeah. But that's assuming, right? Okay. So that's also assuming that people know to do breath work, which is just now a coming of age. And so even I try to ask, when they're like on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you rating your life right now?
Oh,
You,
asking me.
yeah.
Well, 9 because I have bad blisters from rock climbing where I didn't fall. It would have been bad, but really bad blisters because I tied my shoes so tight. So 9 because the weather's finally not hot. It's perfect. And for a month, I've otherwise good.
Okay. 9 is amazing. But what if I told you your highest self is telling you that that's a 2
Mm.
and they've got better for you? But 9 is comfortable because I'm doing right. And so even the person at Silk, okay, if they're like, well, it's a 7, I da da da. Well, what if your higher self told you you're living at 2 right now? How different would you look at life?
I would
It,
ask, what can I do to make it better? What can I do different? What's my next step I should take to make it the 2 or 7?
well, the dreaming part, the accountability, right? These are things without money. If you have money and opportunity to get a life coach, or you can do bargaining, get a life coach. Start there. Get a certified life coach because everyone claims they're life coaches, but get someone who is actually certified in this and not just like gambling with your life. And I mean, start cultivating the community that you want to see. There is someone out there that needs exactly what you're dreaming to do. Someone, literally. So yeah, I'd start with tell that one friend your secret, that dream big. If you
You
can
know,
get,
some people, actually a lot of people, Kingsley, I don't know. Do you ever do this? I do. So this is how I know I'm collecting data. I'll ask people, what's your secret dream? Because it's always the one that they're not telling. They're not
oh, I
telling
tell
everybody.
everyone mine. I'm not shy about it. I want to be
You're
as
not.
Beyonce.
Most people, there's people who will tell me I have none.
Well, yeah, but I think that I also like it's such a thing to hold to yourself. And I think because if it's yours, nobody
Hmm.
else you so like I don't share my unmixed music with my family. They will give me all of the reasons of why it's wrong. And I'm like, it's not done. This is a demo. This is just the first idea, right?
Yeah.
My family gets to listen to it when it's on Spotify and it's absolutely finished because
Never ever ask your family and even some of your friends about something really close to your heart.
well, yeah. And so I think that's why if you have someone you can do it or a life coach where you can share it, where it's a safe space to do it so that it doesn't mutilate. So when people say, I don't know, the truth is they don't know who they can trust with the thing. And
Hmm.
that's from that. I mean, that's just human calling out. I always remind myself when people impose their fear on me, oh, it's just projecting, baby.
And it's also sometimes they do have your best interest in mind.
They
Otherwise, they
don't
wouldn't.
know. My higher
No?
self does. My higher
Mm,
self knows. And if you think it, it's because it's supposed to be a part of you. It's supposed to be the thing. Why would you think that? Why would you think this amazing movie if it's not supposed to be your creation? Then it wouldn't come to you. Creativity does not work that way. It would go to the person that it should be for. But it
that's a
came
very logical, actually, very logical thing to say. I'll add to that. If you don't take action on that idea you just got, the universe is going to give it to somebody else because it wants to
in a
come
different
out.
way. In a different way. And you'll be like, oh, I
I
had
had
it.
that idea.
It's gonna be the well,
Yeah.
gave it to yeah. So it's hard for me to say like the stuckness because the reality is we live in a world where it's really hard to do your dream. It's set up purposely, right? The way capitalism works. I just, if you knew tomorrow was going to be the day that you get to do the things, wouldn't you work toward like wouldn't today be the day? Tomorrow I get to wake up in my dream house with my dream partner, with my dream life. All right, all I need to do today is make a to-do list. And tomorrow I get to be in it. That's it. Right?
Hmm. Yeah. Back to your higher self says it's 7. What's the highest number your higher self can go on a scale of 1 to what? 1 to 7, 8?
I think it's a 1 to 10 scale. And I did a manifesting 30-day challenge with one of my accountability partners, and I did it for her. She was like, "Hey, will you do this with me so that like, because you wake up early, so you would send it to me to make me do it." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. Send me whatever we're doing." So she sends me the book, and it was incredible. It was the most incredible book I've ever the questions were so beautiful, and in it was saying like rate your life, and I'm like, I'm gonna give my life like a 7 because I like what I'm doing, but I know I can do better. And it literally said, honey, it's a 2, dream bigger, let's go. And I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. Like even at a 9 is amazing, but what if you knew that 9 was a 2? How much bigger could you get?
You're not really consciously aware of how good it can get.
Yeah.
You think your car is good, but your car's, and just because it's a Ferrari, you didn't know, like, even if it's a Ferrari, they got better cars than a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's in the near future? For you? You're doing you talked about Sedona and the harps, and you have your songwriters festival. What else is
Yeah, I'm releasing. Well, I don't know about releasing, but we'll be finishing up my 3rd studio record next year. I don't know what the releasing plan looks like because my heart is open. We released 1 single this year, and then I went back into the studio because I'm like, it doesn't quite sound how I hear it in my head yet. So,
Oh, I wanted to ask you about the process for, like you said, you have a 10-step, or you have people songwriting for the year. Well, like this month, that month. Um, so do you have a process for creating a new album?
yeah, it all is so different album to album. I used to argue with my ex and save all of my emotions for a song. And my therapist taught me that that is not good. I did not know that. Have you ever seen Tick Tick Boom, where Andrew, the guy who played Spider-Man, and Vanessa Hudgens they're acting in it? It's the guy who wrote Rent. It's based off of him. And he was arguing with his girl, and then when the arguing's over and they're hugging, he's literally tapping a metronome on his head because he can hear the song that just came out of that argument. And the girl gets upset because she's like, you weren't even like listening, you're creating music. And it's amazing the songs that can come out of that. But
Oh, my girlfriend used to do that to me too. Wherever I'd go, if she said something cool or anyone, I'd take out a napkin or book and write it down. She's like, you're writing what I just said down, aren't you? I'm like, I can't help it. It sounds great. And then to give you my own examples, one uh, was it was about, I have to know, was the song, are you in or you out? So the title of the song is, are you in or you out? And she's like, it's about me, isn't it? I'm like, no, I heard you talking on the phone with your realtor about selling your house. She calls you. I was talking to you when you just ignored me to pick up the phone. You started talking to her. So I'm just sitting there watching and listening. And you go, she's asking you, I got a deal for you on the house. Are you in or you, I got to know, are you in or you out? That's a great line. Hey, as I write a song about her, and everyone, she thinks that song's about her.
oh,
You probably have the
sometimes.
same experience.
Oh, I tell people, I say, don't make me upset because I will write a song about you. Don't do it. But after I finished my 2nd record, I went to therapy and I was like, I really don't want to draw, like, I really don't want to hold in emotions knowing that I'm going to write. Like, it's not really fair to my creativity. It's not really fair for my emotional process. And it's not really fair to the people. I'm not speaking my truth because I'm like, oh, I can get a good song out of that later. That's it, that's stifling to art. And so I literally started just like putting on YouTube, or just playing my guitar and just like not writing it down, just getting comfortable with being creative all of the time, right? And being inspired all the time, just singing to sing, nothing matters, just singing, whatever I felt. And then I started working on my 3rd studio record, and I had just listened to an interview with Dua Lipa. She was doing the Rolling Stone record, or a Rolling Stone interview for her Future Nostalgia. And she said she didn't have a partner she was writing the songs about. She was just writing it about someone she wanted to come into her life. And when she finished the record, the person came into their, and I'm like, we always have to write from history or for what's exactly happening, but we don't usually get to write from something that we're dreaming of, which that's the fun part about music.
That sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, so this record really was me just playing and having fun, and it literally, and then I started having it happen in life, the things that I wrote in my songs, and that made more fun songs. And so this next record is just like a coming into age of passion, love, joy. Like
These are things you've been dreaming about.
these are the things I've been dreaming about, and just
What's the
enjoy.
title of the album?
It's called Come and Find Me, and it really is a frequency thing. Like if you want to be in my life, you gotta come and find me on whatever higher journey I'm
Radio
on.
station you're on?
Yeah, turn to the frequency of
Frequency?
yeah.
Nice. I have a friend who's really good at the mixing and mastering and the frequencies.
Yeah.
And, he'll listen to a song that I do and tell me all the, like you're talking about technical stuff and frequency, this. And I'm like, whatever. Just, does it sound good? Can you make it sound better? I trust you because I can't really hear it, but he can. Awesome. So is there anything else we haven't talked about?
Oh, these were great questions. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, you're a fascinating, interesting, inspirational person. I had no idea there was so much more behind just, you get the email, I'm a pop singer and I'd like to be on your podcast. And I'm kind of like, well, does that mean I have to like your music? And maybe I should listen to the music. And then I discovered so much about what you do and how it's helping people. I hope sure listeners get something out of this. I'm gonna listen back to what we talked about.
Yeah, I
Good.
appreciate you. I love people that take a chance. You never know what you get to find. And I hope that inspires people like you took a chance reading the email, listening to the song, and even interviewing me. And this is where we came. And it's just one step that you took. So I hope other people take one step.
That comes back to the non-judgmental thing. Not to be too quick about because we're all pre-programmed with judgmental things. I mean, you have to be, otherwise you wouldn't cross a street in a dangerous city by yourself at night unless you knew that's not had some kind of programming. But then to maybe check that with something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything will be in the show notes. Your music. It's I saw it on Bandcamp. It's on Spotify too. You mentioned Spotify.
Yeah, so my music's on Spotify, but Higher is not because that song has been sold to the
Oh,
podcast.
I see.
So I can only put it on Bandcamp, which is great for me because that means if you buy it, the money comes directly to me and not to Spotify. So we love that for us.
And then people can go to your website. It's iamkingsley.com. That'll be in the show notes. If they want to book a session with you in terms of your branding, your service for doing the user created content we're talking about, talk to you more about that, how it's done. You teach them how to do that and everything else you do.
Yeah, I'll give you the link. The branding is with King's Kitchen Media, which plays off of Kingsley, obviously.
Yeah, I do like how you figured Kingsley is probably already taken. So you put I am Kingsley.
Yes. Very, very wise.
It's good.
Yeah.
And it's still easy to remember.
Yeah, I bought a couple to make sure that those
You got it in terms of the branding and the clever creative stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I wish you continued success in everything you do.
Same to you. And until next time, I hope we do this chat again 5 years from now.
Thank you. Good luck with everything.
Thank you, sweet pea.
Bye.
Bye.